Hi, welcome back to BBB. Today we're going to have a little walkthrough of the demo project we've made for Ronnie Jones' Why Don't You Stay. I'm going to show you the MIDI, the audio and how we've started to make the demo. Let's have a look now. Okay, so here we have Why Don't You Stay. This is our demo version, and at the top you can see here we have Ronnie's vocal. Let's have a little listen.
Well, I heard a lot of guys have been in love with you, girl, but you didn't let them any into your secret world.
You can hear I've used quite a lot of compression and quite a lot of reverb at this early stage in the demo. I find it's good to give things maybe a bit of an exaggerated character to make sure that things start to sound like a record as soon as possible. So perhaps the most important element of the track, as far as the demo is concerned at least, is the drums. If I solo these sections here, you'll hear some reasonably good quality sounding programmed drums. Now these aren't loops or anything like that, these are hand programmed MIDI files. As you can see down here, every last beat of the drums has been slavishly put in, with lots of work on loud and soft velocities, some grace notes, and I've programmed this at the same time as Ronnie playing the guitar while he was sat next to me. So at every stage of the programming process, we've been playing along together with the tempo going up and down, trying different feels, and once Ronnie and me are both happy that it all sits together, then I consider that a job well done. Now, as you can see, for each part of the song, we have a block. This has enabled me to keep track of the song and also to copy and paste bits of programming across. I've also added a tambourine, as you can see here. Again, this is a programmed tambourine. With a room kind of reverb over the top. I've added this as a way to highlight choruses and second verses, but in effect, the only time the tambourine isn't playing is at the beginning of each verse. So Ronnie made a reference to Al Green in his sonic references, and the only real similarity I could see was perhaps we could get some bongos into play. So we've taken a bongo loop from Apple's loop library, and as you can see, we have edited it like crazy to make it fit the song. So let's have a little listen to the bongos. And how they fit in with the drums. So you can hear they fit quite tightly together, which is imperative. You want to keep the groove solid. Now I've also added a bass up here. Until we're 100% sure of the key, there's no point in putting a real bass in. It's likely to change key, things are likely to change, so I like to have one that's programmed and easy to adjust. Let's have a quick listen to that. So I've taken care with the MIDI once again to make sure that it really fits with the drums. Not just the start of each note, but the finish of each note. Now, to give us something musical in there, we've used a Fender Rhodes virtual instrument. In this case, it's just a standard sample from Logic, nothing particularly clever. The only thing I have done to make it sound a little less like a keyboard is put it through a very basic Amp Designer plugin on, I think this is an AC30 copy, whatever came up first really. And I've got lots of reverb and actually some modulation on it, a little tremolo, courtesy of the amp settings. Without it, you can hear it sounds pretty plain. But if I bring it in, now that's a classic way to hear a Fender Rhodes, amped up through a guitar amp. You might keep both signals, both the DI and the amped version. But in this case, this is only the demo, so I've put it through the first thing that's come to hand. And actually we got pretty lucky, it sounds good. Now that's all we've got in there at the moment. We've got the vocal at the top, we've got a MIDI bass, we've got a fake Fender Rhodes, we've got some drums and some tambourine, and we've got our bongos. Now, as you can see here, this is our master output bus here, and we have got some compression. We've got a virtual tape machine, courtesy of Slate Digital. And we've got a limiter. Now, I wouldn't normally work with these things on the master bus, but whilst working on a demo, it can help just to give things that this is actually a record feel. So it's nice to work into a bit of compression and a bit of limiting right from the outset. Although I would take them off when I was actually recording a vocal or a guitar, as they can introduce latency. You can have a little listen to the demo by clicking the link. Okay, so that's the first demo. Ronnie came back a little while later with some new ideas and some new influences. Let's have a look at what we've done to change the demo accordingly. Okay, so this is the second demo for Ronnie Jones, Why Don't You Stay? It's based very closely on the first one. We kept all the drums, they seem to work really well. We kept the bongos too, and of course we have kept the Fender Rhodes and the bass. What we have done is we've changed the tempo. It's now much slower. It was 100 beats per minute, it's now 89. You can hear that has quite a dramatic effect on how the music sounds. Have a little blast. Now, my first instinct was that that was way too slow, but Ronnie was very insistent. One of Ronnie's influences was True by Spandau Ballet. He also mentioned Holding Back the Years by Simply Red. Both of this had a backbeat chop guitar. So what we've done is we've put one of these in to see if it helped to liven things up a bit. Have a quick listen. So you can hear I've put two in there, one with a straightforward chop and one with something a little looser, and we've panned them left and right. If you listen to that in conjunction with the rest of the drums and the bass, you can hear that that really fits together into something quite funky. Now, obviously, Ronnie had to record a new vocal because of the new tempo, which he's done. I'll give a little blast.
Well, I heard a lot of guys have been in love with you, girl, but you didn't let that many into your secret world. A paradise, so I've heard from somebody.
So that's the demo as it stands. You can click the link to have a listen. Okay, so Ronnie came back a third time, and this time the demo took on a much fuller flavour and developed a character all of its own. Let's have a little look now. Okay, so this is the third and final version of Ronnie Jones's Why Don't You Stay. As you can see, things got a lot more complicated. Now, we've still got the same drums and tambourines. We've still got the same bass. We've still got the same Fender Rhodes, although we have cut it back now just to the choruses and the solo and intro sections. We've added a Hammond organ down here. Again, just using one of Logic's own virtual instruments. Now, the crucial difference with this version is that we've started to add a very different kind of guitar. One of Ronnie's influences was a U2 track. And the very first thing that you noticed about the U2 track was it wasn't really funky and it had lots of acoustic and electric guitars in. So the first thing we've done is we've added a double-tracked acoustic. Have a listen. Highly compressed and a left and a right panned hard. We've then moved on and we've started emulating some of the kind of atmospheric guitars in the U2 track. And very quickly we found that the song really started to come alive. The first one we added on was this one here. Now it's very U2. We've used Logic's virtual pedal board and their excellent amp designer just to treat the DI of my electric guitar plug straight in. So I've got a vintage distortion pedal. I've got a little mixer, so it's half clean and half distorted. I've got an echo pedal here, and it's all going through a virtual AC30 with a ribbon mic over here. I'm using the reverb on the virtual amp, and I've managed to get a really great sound. It's something a little different than where we started off, but the U2 influence really pushed us in a particular direction. Alongside these Snow Patrol style guitars, which I think give it a more modern feel. And of course, the guitars that we had already put on, the individual guitar chops. I think have really added up to something atmospheric. Let's have a little listen to how they all work together. I think it comes across as less funky but more modern. It's definitely got a great atmosphere. Feels quite nostalgic in a way. I think the echoey guitar tends to do that. As a consequence of moving away from the more funky feel, we've ended up muting the bongos. I think Ronnie's quite keen to keep them, but I don't really see that they work with this more modern feel on all the guitars. So as you can see at the moment, it's a bit of a mess. There's lots of copying and pasting and we're not really sure what goes where. We also haven't had a chance to put anything into the middle 8 at all. So that's pretty much where it was. We'll have a quick listen to that. But it may be that the sparseness of that middle 8 is a nice counterpoint to the rest of the song, so I'm not too worried about that section at the moment. So this is version 3 of the demo. It's got lots of guitars in it, it's got a more modern feel. We've embellished and we've started to hone in on some of the ideas. I really hope you like it. You can have a listen to it with this link here. Now I think we're ready to move forward and get some drums on this. So that's the demos we've made for Ronnie Jones' Why Don't You Stay. I hope you enjoyed them. See you next time.